Hey everybody. So I recently did a workshop on AI enhanced design workflows, and I would like to share some of the ideas in a very quick and short video. Let's see if it's useful or give you some ideas for some workshops or things to try. That was not a workshop on learning to use AI tools. It was a workshop about augmented design workflow. We had to make something. Half of the session, a bit of the tools and my personal views and biased views around AI. And at the end, there was an exercise bit of my background, why me, why I'm talking about these things right now. Background of industrial designer and all the work that I've done on user-centered design and research, and also the stage where I was in Hong Kong at the PolyU running a design incubator and using the production digital fabrication technologies to make final products, and how this triggered my curiosity to experiment with new technologies in design processes. That's why I do a lot of work with digital fabrication, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, bit of detail, and checking a bit of the projects on this area. And then we went a little bit explaining AI is like taking this averages, a lot of data, can extract pattern on that. And if the probability, explain a bit the difference on teaching a machine on our terms or let the machine learn for it. We need to tell a machine what is a cat, then we need to define all the features that compose a cat, right? If we let a machine check lots of data of a certain subject, then it can take conclusions, its own understanding of the subject. If we drop images like this, it can be identified as cat. We don't need to define the whole possible scenarios where a cat could happen. On the image related applications, I like this. When we look at the AI space, it's like if within every block of a stone, there's all the possible sculptures in it, and it's the sculpture that needs to extract. It's poetic and nice, this approach. We see this space of possibilities, and then we need to extract the content that we want to use as designers. Going through examples, like all the tools that they are already there, how the AI is present in many parts of the design process already, how all the tools that we use, they have these things. So we touch a little bit the concept of computational photography. For a long time, we have been taking photos of things that didn't exist. Pixel phone, I think that it can compose a photo from different frames of different moments. If the subject is running, so it may take the sharp face from one frame and the sharp body from another. And also, we went through this idea that why now? But what's new is that we have the technology, the computational capabilities, and all the data. We touch a bit this idea. The time from concept to application is shrink, and then how this leads to these tiny applications that do a specific part, from the background removal, the AI restoring, even like this AI photographer. So very specific tools. I point them to these repositories of hundreds of services and tools. Touch a bit this idea of how the tools enable new languages and new language become new trends, and how this over time it is ring. Renaissance, Art Nouveau, punks in the digital style. So all this becomes shorter, right? Used to last 30 years, then 10 years, then 5 years, then 5 months, then nowadays, right? We went through this concept, but at the end of the day, we are doing is compressing, is like understanding. So make the analogy of the MP3. Cut the things that they are not interesting. Cut the high and low, so we have like a very nice average that it sounds almost perfect. So if we have like a body of content and then we translate this to a body of knowledge, we have a very nice average. So it's something that it's okay. I feel that we leave the spikes out. So that's why we do have floods of average content. As a design professionals, our job would be to take the block of things that the AI is outputting and do the extra part, this 20 or 10% more to bring these things to the next level. Nowadays, they raise the standard, right? So it makes more things better. The same way that sites of chip design or templates that we see in Canva or these user-friendly tools to create this brings these design tools to a wider participant. So this is great, because then any like a pet shop in the corner can have their own graphic language, their own content. Also, designers, we always deal with words. We are in between the world and the senses. The design professional is able to translate concept that is expressed in words into its physicality, right? So its color, its tactility, its shape, its place in the world. Design professionals are used to convert concepts into tangible things, and the other way around. Design professors need to go beyond expectable. So if now we have all this amount of averageness that comes from these tools, this needs to be, we need to raise the standards somehow, right? And of course has to be difficult. At the end of the day, the message of the workshop was like, if your role as a designer is doing average, mediocre, because now we have these tools that automate the boring part. This graphic yesterday, now, and soon. Black one is the design profession now, which this gap between the great design and the okay design, the average design. No? So at the moment, as AI this raises the standards, the design professional needs to go beyond that. Right? We discuss so the design is not the output, is the reason why the output exists. This is separated from pixels itself. The goal of the workshop was to talk about this role and how you can enhance the performance of an AI with your creative decisions and how you can influence this process, this black box, how you can input things to make the output better, and the other way around, so how you can take this averageness of outputs and use them on your favor to go to the next level. It's not a discussion about AI versus design, right? So it's about that the designers that use AI, they will replace the designers that don't use AI. That's the baseline. The project that we did, the second half, which was very nice, a world building exercise. So rules. So world building is this practice mainly used by writers or game developers or just people that need to tell a story. Also, it's relevant for design students because that's something that they will encounter in their profession. So they, if they work in speculative design, futurism, or trend forecasting. So at the end of the day, is to define the context where the design happens. The exercise was come up with society and environment, technology, and some constraints that would define what we want to extract from this block of possibilities. So just not use it as a slot machine, like, okay, prompt, output, but really going for something. So what do we want? What's the language? What's the properties of what we want to extract from? More precisely, the exercise, make a diagram or infographic or an explainer with this word. Also, this was the requirement. So it's put yourself before or after, or before and after the AI. So influence this content to your own needs or to the design needs, to the project. Influence the input, just working with shapes, with mockups, text, the content that each professional has the capacities, from fashion students, from interior design students, from photography, so different set of professionals. And also likewise the out. What do we do with the things that they come out from these processes? Let's output some depth map and then use it in a 3D software, or use it also in transparencies, or we could generate some textures and print some fabrics, like make a garment, and then I provide them a set of tools. The first one was Fermat. We created a collaborative space for creation. Fermat is interesting because you can combine text and images in a collaborative way. Like, or we can type a word, like let's say that we want this kind of building, then the kind of architecture, and also we can say that we want it in a very sunny day. We had these things here. The students could just select these concepts and then generate the image, or the other way around, no? Have like one image and variations, or also work with text. So that locally I had stable diffusion with some of the extensions. So another thing I prepared was the spaces inside Hugging Face, so different models with a fast GPU allocated, so all the students could play with them in a very dynamic way and fast. So one thing that we did was try to extract, for example, the depth, one image of one cat, and then we drop it here. Also, so for instance, to something like this, to start some interesting input, we use a control net to use the depth, and with some experiments, quick prototyping this a photo of the trash can, and then here say like building, elliptic, landscape. It extracts the depth of this, guides the generation of object. Let's see if you can see better. No. Or let's say a big shin mine crystals, create something like this. Instead of the depth, we can use the shape, right? The head, it will like just this one. That was we can use the same proportions, the same kind of shape to guide the creation of. And then this, of course, this is a photo of a prototype, or so another tool that we use was this Pix2Pix, which is a way to edit or modify images in a very natural conversation, right? So if we add an image of a cat and it's a winter tiger, convert this image into what we said, right? So if they have something, then sketch or input that creation and modify it of these tools. That's the setup. I prepare for them, play fast, and then also we try to touch and experiment micro tools available elsewhere, right? There's with Poly, it's just to text to image, but it also generates the depth map and all these things. So in a way, you can create these materials that they are ready to input for your workflow. And of course, we also went through Runway just to see all these what they call magic tools, which are these very specific tools expand the image, to remove content, to do in painting in a very natural way also. And also I show them some guides where learn a bit how to do these things, repositories and archive. For example, yeah, this promptist, which is if you just want something generic, so you want a cat sculpture, it will augment this initial text with a kind of prompt or words that you can interact with these generative models. It will give you ideas on how to talk with these models. Quite interesting to start this relationship on how to talk with these machines. Another helpers or guides. This one, it's a kind of lexica. It's mostly targeted drawings or illustrations. And also this one, lots of art style. If they are looking for something like this, hypermodernism. This is called minimalism. And then also we went through a bit what's coming, no? So these potential interface generators, the video, and all the things that they are being cooked in the 3D space, like Dream Fusion. Quite impressed. This one generate content from images. So yeah, that's it. So basically, we need to be aware that it's gonna be flooded of average mainstream crap every that will look like the cool things now. The bar rises, and design professionals need to be there because the rest will be the commonplace. If you're a designer, welcome. It's a very good opportunity to use these tools to enhance your workflow and also use your work to enhance the creations of these AI tools.